The United Nations Development Programme released its new findings in 2020 from 80 countries as part of its Gender Social Norms Index. The report revealed that 90% of men and women have some sort of bias against women. Now, gender bias is the prejudice displayed against one gender over the other. This is the Women's Series, and my name is Ayomide Oguntoye. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of the Women's Series where we celebrate the International Women's Day. The theme for the year is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. On this special episode, I'm joined by Abimbola Agbejule, the Head Corporate Sustainability and Responsibility at Wema Bank. Just before we meet her, let's go on a quick break and we will be back.
Tune in to Web TV Daily to stay up to date and informed on the financial market, personal finance, and more. We have got you covered with all your favorite TV shows, economy and politics, market review, women's series, millennial talk, Islamic Finance Weekly, The Brief, exclusive interviews, events, and we keep you up to date on all the updates in the financial market with the market opening gong. Watch premium content. Watch Web TV. Same news, different perspective.
Welcome back. It is the Women's Series. I'm so happy to be here today. It's the special episode for the celebration of the International Women's Day, and it's a month all months throughout the months of March rather, and we're so excited to be celebrating women, celebrating our achievements, celebrating our milestones, celebrating our little achievements, no matter how small it is. Just before we went on break, I said we were going to meet our guest, and we are even here. We're in our office, and this year in Wema Bank. Hello, Abimbola. Thank you for joining me today.
Good afternoon, Ayomide. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm glad that we're celebrating International Women's Day.
Same here. Same here. Happy International Women's Day to us.
Happy International Women's Day.
More of this. More of this to come. The theme for the year is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. It is not new topic. Gender equality is not new to anybody in this space, because each time we talk about gender equality, and this because we need to talk about it. There are stereotypes, there are biases that have held us back. There are certain things that we see in our society that are still holding women back in this part of the world. I mean, generally, but pertaining to Nigeria, I mean, we would get to that later on. But first, let's start with celebrating our achievements as women, celebrating our milestones, celebrating us as women. I was going through your profile. You've been in this industry, in the banking sector, for almost 2 decades. This is a milestone. I don't know if anybody has told you that, but you deserve to be celebrated. I don't know how you feel about that. Are you one of those people that feel like, I've achieved this, I've achieved a lot. I'm tired, I just want to relax, or you're looking up to the next thing you want to celebrate?
Thank you, Ayomide. I think let me start with the end question. I'm looking for more things to celebrate. I'm passionate about women. I'm passionate about things that actually support the community, support the environment. And I think this is just the beginning. For me, I started banking quite young. And when I started, I started with a new institution that just came to town, and they were big on actually making a difference. And then it was called Bond Bank. And at Bond Bank then I did a lot of things, branding, I did customer service, and I think I spent more time with branding, and from there I gained a lot of foothold and footings. Then the merger came, I went to Sky, and a lot in terms of branding, more around investment banking, more around strategy before joining Wema, and there have been many feats that have been achieved in the course of all of these things. At Wema, I think I've spent some time here as well, and I think I've done quite like 3 different roles, starting as a head of strategy, the award-winning digital bank that we have for the bank, Alat. I was a project manager and moved to become the chief commercial officer. Then when we set up the sustainability unit as a department, then I had to come in to head that department, and that I've been doing since. And I think we've made a lot of strides as a bank in terms of sustainability. And one of our key pillars is women empowerment. And it's something that we're big on, we're passionate about, even as a bank and as an industry as well. A lot is happening. I must say that we're just starting. There are many things to still do. We're not yet where we want women to be. But you know, the adage that says that when you support a woman, you actually supported the entire nation. And that is what we need in this country at this time. So I think the sky is the limit.
Congratulations on all your strides, by the way. I need to put that out there. You're doing just well for yourself and, of course, for the women forward. However, the situation, we cannot deny the fact that there are still certain experiences that are peculiar to women. I mean, regardless of, I don't want to even use the word regardless. Despite, I mean, it falls in the same bracket, right? Despite all the achievements, there's still certain experiences you go through. We say nothing good comes easy, but then again, there are certain things that are peculiar to women, if you understand what I mean. Now, in your career journey, I mean, what are your experiences? Even if it's a story, I mean, we'd love to hear.
So the truth is that I think I've been blessed somehow. I started with a female manager, and she actually taught me a lot of things, and those are the things that I've continued to emulate. Things around celebrating small wins, things around how you look, things around how you communicate, the way you carry yourself, things around taking people out. I think that actually, those formative years remain the cardinal stone for my career, and I've taken that to other organizations and other teams that I work in. I think, peculiar to me, I don't think I've had any terrible experience or things that are actually gender bias or stereotype. But I could speak to other people that are around me that have experienced it. So I had a colleague back then in the appraisal cycle where you get a promotion. She had a maternity leave of 3 months within that period. And because she went on maternity leave, she couldn't get the promotion because it reduced the number of months that she had used on that level. And we felt that that's really bad. That's stereotype. Because if we're to be a guy, is she not performing? Is she doing her work? Did she meet her numbers? Did she meet the target? Then she'd have allowed her to go. But in the reverse was a case, as in she had to stay back, wait for the next cycle to get promoted. And those are kind of the biases that we're talking about that we need to change, we need to curb, we need to actually speak to and give women what they deserve. And so for me, it's, I won't say it's been a smooth ride, but it's actually not a gender thing that has happened. It's more, in fact, sometimes even women to women that have the issues. So it's not been
Yeah, because
easy.
I was going to even ask you, because you said that you had your first boss was female. And they sometimes say female bosses have, so to say, problems. I mean, they can be very difficult when in terms of leadership.
True.
When did you experience any of that?
With Oyinkan, I did not. Oyinkan was a great boss, and she did all she can to actually groom people after her. In fact, they call me Oyinkan's strategy, as in the things that the way she does the things and the way but I didn't have an issue. I learned more from her. Even though with the male bosses that I've had, I've not had any. I think it's been good.
That's good. I mean, I'm loving the fact that your journey has been, I mean, very, very inspiring, considering the fact that you've not had so down that line as we would love to say, maybe a bias or a stereotype attached to that. Now, with regards to the corporate world, our main focus is to make gender equality a priority in the corporate world. Now, part of gender stereotypes that have held women back is things like the wage differential, sexual harassment, long work hours, and holding key positions, because sometimes they look at you and no, I don't think you can perform. Who are you? Who are you? Now, we get people that say things like that. Now, would you advise, or what would you advise women to do to change the narrative? Now, I'm not speaking to the society first. I'm speaking to women first. What can they do to change the narrative?
So women have to show up as well. Women also need to know their onions. All of these things will always happen, but how do you get by with those things? Sexual harassment always happen. Luckily in this industry, there's no wage differential. It doesn't happen on a gender level. It probably happen on the performance values. what you're bringing to the table and all of those things. But I advise women to also know their onions. Don't give excuses. Show your tenacity in what you do. There's some roles that might be a bit difficult. Maybe it involves a lot of traveling and a young woman with a young family. So you probably cannot take the trip. So, but sometimes you just have to like spend the money and take the trip. If you need to hire a nanny to go with you on that trip to actually make to get what you need to get there, you need to do it. Because so let's say for instance, there's some jobs that require long hours. If you work in the engineering, say engineering now in banking is around IT tech, and you do long hours. I'm sure sometimes like, oh, so what will I do? How will I take care of my family? You just need to find a balance around it. Like if you need to take the work home and you stay up late in the night and just get it done, because it's not going to come to you on a platter of gold.
So you now, I'm sure you've had your experience of long work hours.
Oh yes.
How did you navigate it?
So for me, I've had serious issues where I had my daughter was in the hospital, had to be at work. I left my daughter with a nanny. Nanny left the daughter in the house with IV fluid running, So I've had my issues, and sometimes at some point I broke down and said I don't want to work again. But I had a good boss, a male boss. He said, Bimbo, I'm going to give you time. And that was when I was at my mid-career level. And I said, I was going to give you time, Bimbo. Think about it. Do you still want to come back to this work? But take time off. And so after like a month, I got tired. I went back to work. And that was like, and I'm like, why would a nanny leave somebody that they left in your custody and go out and play, thinking that something, how it is sometimes in this part of the world where they can't draw the lines within professionalism and taking things. So all of these things happen. I've been there. And some people come to tell you, they give you different excuses. So ladies have different excuses during the month. I say, oh, I have PMS issue. You always have PMS. What are you doing to stop it? Or what are you doing to protect yourself? You need to be at work.
Okay. So, I want to relate to that because sometimes I do, right? These are biological factors. You can't deny that. How do we balance it?
I quite agree with you. You know that time of the month when you're going to have all of this things. So prepare yourself ahead. You have medications that you can take. You may not work full time, but you show up, you deliver on your responsibility. Maybe when you have tasks that are due during that period, you prioritize them and deliver even before that time. So even if you're not there during those days, they don't feel that your midday is not in the office. But not on that day they're supposed to. Then not give that excuse, I'm not feeling too well, I'm a bit under the weather, but you know that this thing will come at this time of the month. But you'd have to plan ahead. I know we're not magicians, or times that will happen that you will not be able to show up. Exactly. But your boss will, or your team members will understand. But if it's somebody that is reoccurring, then you have an issue.
You're feeling already.
Exactly. And those are the things that need women to be able to stand up to and show up. Guys, they also show up. I'm not saying that when you're really sick, you need to show up and then you slump in the office. That is not what we're saying. What we're saying that there has to be a consistency in the way you approach your work. Your productivity level should be top notch, so that even when you're down, nobody looks down at you and say, oh, this person does not perform, or even in her better days, she's not good. But in her bad days, they would consider you.
Yeah, they would cover up. Your good days will cover up for your bad days. I think one important key you've mentioned today would be your productivity level should be top notch. Should be top notch. Now, based on your experience, what advice would you give to women who are looking out for jobs? Now, I've seen this with respect to women having flair for businesses. Now we see trend of women going into businesses as opposed to the corporate world, and this is because they have so many excuses. They'll say they can the home front will suffer, but when they are the boss of their own, they can manage their time properly and all of those things. Fine, I'm not saying business is wrong. I'm not saying business is bad. It is good. You're the boss of yourself. But however, there are still some people that still have this dream of coming into the corporate world and giving their quota to whatever industry they want to play in. What are the questions they should be asking? How should they present themselves? What are the things they should be looking out for in an organization?
So if you're coming to an organization as a young person, first thing is look at the culture. Does it fit what you want? Is there a future in the things that you do? Assess yourself. What do I like? What is the temperature of this organization? So some people will tell you, oh, I want to work in the tech industry because they are free. I can dress down all the time. I don't work. No, things have even changed a lot. Even in the corporate settings, you can have you're free to like dress down. It's more business casual now, not like the suit kind of thing. So, but you need to see if there's a culture, if there's an alignment in terms of culture. What's your vision as an individual? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve it? Who do you look up? So even if you're looking for a job, you need to look for a mentor. So that before you get into the job, you already know somebody guiding you and showing up for you when you need to meet somebody. But look at that as well. Also look at what are your plans, long-term plans. I'm not going to
Long-term
work there
goals.
forever. So what are the things I need to do? What areas do I need to improve myself? What skills is required in this organization? What will it be the next 10 years? Because there are new skills coming up every day. So when it comes to the banking industry, there are new skills that you need to learn beyond the general ones that you probably learn in the university. So there are new art skills that is going on. So how do I want to position myself to learn? What would that will guide me through? You need to learn all of this. Even if you run a business, you still need to learn from the corporate settings. You need to go for courses, and they're free online that you can learn. How do I structure my business? How do I plan? How do I approach my business in a professional manner? I know it's a business. I still need to wake up and set up, It's even more difficult to run a business and work in a corporate organization sometimes. Because
They don't know. They feel like the corporate world is more...
No, sometimes because you have to be there. Sometimes you have to work 24 hours, no break. And sometimes you're not meeting your revenue levels. Sometimes you need support that you probably will not get. And you have to put your all in it. But if you work within a team, your team can cover it for you. You have bosses that can guide you. You have mentors that can support you. You have sponsors that can push you ahead and identify you for setting goals. So there's nothing lost in going to an organization first before setting up your own business. So you can have it side by side. You can have a side also while you're doing your work. And when your side also picks up, you can leave the job and continue your side also because you built it to a certain level. But all in all, what do you want for yourself? Know thyself. When they peel the onion, what would they see? So check it. That would actually help you and guide you through what you need to do.
Know thyself and be true to thyself.
Yes,
be true to thyself. Yeah, so gender equality is not only a fundamental human right. I mean, it is necessary for the foundation. It's a necessary tool for a foundation and for building a peaceful, prosperous, and even a sustainable world. Now, with regards to the society now, we've talked about what women can do. What can the society do? By society, I mean everybody in general. I mean organizations, I mean regulators, I mean the government, even the policies and whatnot. What can we all do to make this a reality?
A lot has to be done. We need to start from the home. What are we doing in the home? How are we raising a girl child and a boy child? What things are you telling them so society would look at in the future? Because these people would grow to become important members of the society. Before we now go into the community, go into organizations, go into the government sector and see what we need to do. Everybody has a role. As a parent, what are you doing? As an older person, even if you're not a parent, what are you doing? What guidance are you providing for the younger ones? What are you telling them? What kind of knowledge are they getting? Because I know that we have a lot of dated knowledge systems in the country, but what are we doing in terms of global best practices that we can actually bring our people to par? As a community, how are you raising your women and your men? Men too is actually quite important to achieve gender parity. We can't leave the men behind as much as we don't want to leave the women behind. Women are actually important by nature. Men are important as well, but women take on more roles in terms of nurturing and caring for the society, and men create that supportive role to actually project the individual. So what are we doing at the community level? At the organizational level, what conscious effort are we making to actually bring women to the top? How are we helping them to break the glass ceiling? How are we helping to instill confidence in the women? How are we supporting them at that tender age or at that tender years that they're raising a family and nurturing a family? What policies have we put in place for them? How convenient is it for them to work from anywhere they are? Thank God for COVID, because now things that seemingly impossible are now possible. So what kind of structures are we placing? What kind of policies are we developing to support women? What kind of empowerment are we giving to them? Empowerment does not mean that you're giving them money, but in terms of knowledge, in terms of capacity building, in terms of making a decision, how are we supporting them to do this? Then we go to the policy level, because all of these guys form the government. Yes. So when we have good people that understand what gender parity is, then we take it to the government level. What is the reasoning level? What plans do you have for women for the future? How are you supporting women? How do you bring more women to the echelons of power? How do we help more women to make decisions? How do we help support more women to bring other women on board? We have more women in Nigeria, but the men still rule. So, but we need more women that are committed as well. We don't fight and get laid back. We fight and stay there and say, oh, this is what we want. And you're doing it in a manner that is actually putting the values ahead. Not that we're pitting that, oh, we must do this because I'm a woman, we must do this. No, leave the pity party. Show what you have. Show your stuff. Show your
Leave the
stuff.
entitlement mentality.
Yes,
out.
and don't look for people to support you because you're female. Bring value to the table. Know thyself. Have good understanding and be able to own your own. Show up. Read or be competent enough. So nothing will come to you on a platter of gold. But more women need to get to that level so that we can actually help. When we have all of this in place, then it is a lot easier to advocate for women and to push them to the level that we want to be. But it can be done. I like the fact that we're celebrating International Women's Day. We're making it more, we're bringing it to the consciousness of everyone. We're making more intentional growth for women. And so we need to do more of all of these things. But we can't afford to leave the men behind. We don't have to intimidate the men. The men also have to grow. We need to put certain policies and support in place for the men as well, and not just the women. And we all achieve a good globe, equality in the globe.
Right. I mean, you've summarized everything all together, and I love that we've been able to do that. One take home from me would be that we should leave out the entitlement mentality and the sentiments aside and work for it. Be productive at whatever you do. In 30 seconds, I mean, this will be my last question. In 30 seconds, what are the tips that, I mean, a lot of people have said that women do so much. They do a lot when it comes to their day. They celebrate so much, or they have special days assigned to them alone. Why? Well, anyway, that's the problem. But in 30 seconds, I mean, what are the tips you would like to give to women to stay positive, to stay winning in their profession, regardless of the challenges in our economy now as they affect Nigeria?
So I like the fact that we celebrate. No, women, we like to celebrate, and we celebrate ourselves and give ourselves a pat on the back.
Yeah.
But at this point, if you don't wear the positive outlook, then we can't get things done. All of these things wear you out as an individual, regardless of your gender. And so we need to look at the future, stay the long haul. Good things will happen. Good times would come. Play your part. Ensure that you're productive. Show empathy to other people, not even your colleagues at work as well. People within your community. Love your immediate members, as in love of your community. More like I said, love your neighbors. Also be able to do the long haul, delay gratification.
Yeah.
So the reward doesn't come immediately. So it takes a bit of time. Not that it will eventually come. Support other people in whatever form that you can. It doesn't have to be money. It can be non-financial. They can put things out there. Encourage young ones. It's good things are gonna happen when we all do it. But more importantly, celebrate yourself and actually show gratitude. It helps.
Show gratitude. Show gratitude. Show gratitude. Show gratitude. I'm trying to think about it in my head. Show gratitude. Yes.
You can create a small journal. Just say, oh, thankful for today. Thankful for, that's when you'll be able to stay positive and see the good things that you've achieved in a day or in a month or in a period. And it helps you stay positive and you can encourage other people. It is when you put things together and you keep complaining, then some other person comes oh, let me just grab mine. It's not as bad as what I was so just show gratitude.
I think that's a good way to end today's conversation. Show gratitude. Thank you for being my guest, and thank you for hosting us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So just before we go, we have to do the break the bias sign. That's collectively. So collectively, this is us saying that we are ready to break the bias. And that will be all for today's episode of the Women Series. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you for watching. If you've got questions, you have comments, please reach out to me at iomd.ogutoya@approachyourng.com. If you'd like to read more about our finance news, everything about your personal finance, log on to www.approachyourng.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms showing on the screen. Happy International Women's Day once again. And until next time, thank you for watching.